Welcome back to Austin, Texas and the FloMarching Studios for the Intermission edition of Taking the Field. I'm Emily Tanner-Patterson, and joining me once again in the studio today is Luke Gull. Luke, is it just me, or are all the cores a little bit louder, the beats are a little cleaner, the flags are a little bit more in sync? Everybody seems to have turned up the game a little bit today.
They really have. The rain delay happened, and I think they all got fired up a little bit in that hour break. And you're totally right. Everyone's a little bit louder. There's a lot more energy on the field tonight than there was last night, I think.
That's what we want to see. I mean, World Championships, you know, it doesn't get any bigger or better than that. So it's nice to see everybody on top of their game. Let's break them down in order. U-Ball. Very colorful show, and really impressive with just not only their performance tonight and how much cleaner they were tonight, kind of settled into the stadium, but also you could really, the performance allowed you to really see the clarity of the design.
Yeah, I think the brass especially had a stronger show tonight than they did last night. It seemed like they came out with more firepower, and I think you're right, with the clarity of the design. You know, we talk about the Van Gogh and the paintings and things like that, and that's always, it's really translated well, I think.
Really interesting. You know, you'd think that the way these pastels all fit together might be a little odd, but it really works on the field, and with the little splashes of color on the core proper uniforms, as well as the way the flags integrate with the color guard uniform, that could have gone badly, but it all is really integrated seamlessly.
Yeah, I think so. And then the next core after that, Shadow, I thought they had some really cool stuff. I really love the uniform changes that they have in the middle of the show, and they have these kind of mirrors that they have on their back, and so when they'll turn around, you get these flashes. You've got all of course these bright colors and things like that. So there's a lot of light kind of bouncing around the stadium. I really like what they did with this.
Yeah, the splashes on the uniform and the little sparkles, I mean, under the lights, that all just pops, and add in the drum wraps and then the flags. You know, we really understand what the body celestial is. Literally, the body has become celestial.
Yeah, I think it's one of those moments where the design does exactly what you want it to do to tell the story of the show.
And then a very different show with Golden Empire, and Hear Our Voice, maybe a little bit of an anthem of our times, a bit of a protest monologue. Yeah,
this actually has one of my favorite moments of all of Open Class so far. We hear the entire corps doing some vocals that are part of the musical fabric, that are part of kind of what the show is telling. So that's something that used to happen kind of before electronics, and since electronics, that's kind of gone away. But it's cool to kind of see it and hear it on the field again.
Yep. Again, all of these groups doing things both old and traditional that have almost fallen out of favor, and then new and cutting edge. Speaking of new and cutting edge, Southwind putting a guitar all over the field. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, their entire show, I mean, it's called The Guitarist. So they've got, of course, that timbre of the instrument that we normally are not hearing in the drum corps landscape. So that's refreshing, but they've got cool uniforms. They got the strings down the side, and then they'll pull out these kind of banners and these things that are representing guitar strings throughout the course of the show. So I really like the musical flavor of this show.
It's very different, and you know, considering they used to be from Kentucky, now they're from Alabama, it feels like they've taken music from all of these different musical heritages they can claim and put it together into something that's just really fun.
Yeah, and I think they weave a lot of the same melodies together really well throughout the course of the show, so they come back at the end of the show. It's nice.
Absolutely. Moving right along, Guardians, Damned. This has one of my favorite moments with the core hip hop section, and the kids really seem to be buying into it a lot more tonight than last night. Last night seemed a little tentative. Today they were going full out.
Yeah, I really love that hip hop section. You've got the Mahler on top of some of that hip-hop stuff, and that is such a cool musical moment. That was one of those things where we talked about that was staged really well. We see the low brass coming across the front, we've got the mellophones, the trumpets on either side, and of course the singing is a huge part of the show, and you know, they're not shy about it.
Nope.
They put the choir out there, and they own it, and they do a really good job.
And those vocalists are selling every bit of what they're doing. I love how they integrate the hats into the show. When the hats come off, when they get flipped around, when they get thrown on the field, they are not above taking a lot of risks. They're trying to show everyone up in drum corps, I think.
Yeah, it's totally fun to watch.
All right, a couple more to go. River City Rhythm, Each Hour Wounds. This is a little bit more of a traditional show, you might say.
It's traditional, but they have some new elements. We've talked a little bit about this. They've got the pit that they bring out on to the field, and so that's really exciting to see the members having that crazy responsibility, listening responsibility of trying to actually facilitate that musical moment, and then everyone's kind of running around them. So it is more of a traditional show, but there's modern elements in there for sure.
For sure. And then last but not least, Louisiana Stars and Redemption.
Yeah. This show, you know, they don't have a ton of props on the field, and this is where the music really shines. I really love their ballad, Like a Bridge Over Troubled Waters. I think this is one of the best ballads in open class this year. And then they had a really cool mashup in the closer of the Devil's Staircase by Ligeti mixed with Ode to Joy. And so when you have a show where there's not a ton of props on the field, like again, that's where the music can shine. And I think the arrangements are really superb.
There's been a lot of really recognizable tunes, everything from, as we mentioned, Mahler to Kendrick Lamar, but also earlier on I heard some John Mackey and all sorts of classical references. So really running the gamut here today. It's been really nice to see lots of presentations with lots of ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of these open class corps take chances in ways that some world class corps don't. So this is really an awesome show to be able to watch.
Well, let's check out what's coming up next here in the second half. These are the adjusted times following that hour and change weather delay we had. 9:33 7th Regiment, followed by Spartans Historic Open Class Corps, Legends, Gold, BDB, Vanguard Cadets, and of course we'll be staying with you for the whole show, and more taking the field after the awards. We want to remind everyone to go to FloMarching.com, vote for your fan favorite, stick around after the show to see who won, and we'll be back to the field in just a few minutes. Thank you so much for joining us on the intermission edition of Taking the Field.